My name is Hazel Anderson. I am turning 30. Currently, I live with my husband Philip, who is 5 years older than me, and our 5-year-old son R. We are a family of 3. Today, I am attending a friend's wedding ceremony with my husband. Though I call them friends, they are closer to my husband than to me, and I only know them by face. The ceremony was held in a first-class hotel, the kind where the air smells faintly of flowers and money, and every surface shines just a little too much. I found myself distracted by the crystal chandeliers and the polished marble floors, a quiet contrast to the life I usually lived. While my husband exchanged greetings with familiar faces, laughing easily as if he belonged there, I excused myself and headed to the restroom to freshen up. I lingered for a moment, adjusting my hair, steadying my breath, then stepped back into the hallway to return to the ceremony. That was when I heard it. An unpleasant voice, sharp and deliberate. "Oh, look at that defective item. Why are you here, huh?" Another voice chimed in, equally cruel. "Mom, what do you mean by that? It's obvious. Why is a defective item here? We didn't invite them, did we?" The words floated openly through the corridor, loud enough to be heard, clearly meant to be. This wasn't whispered gossip. It was intentional, cutting, and meant to humiliate. No one addressed me directly, yet every word felt aimed squarely at my back. I had no desire to engage with people like that. I turned away and walked quickly, pretending I hadn't heard a thing. "Wait!" A voice shouted behind me. "You ugly thing, you can hear me, can't you?" I didn't stop. My name was not "you ugly thing," and I refused to answer to it. I continued down the corridor, heels steady against the floor, until I heard hurried footsteps closing in. It startled me. I thought they would give up once I ignored them, yet they seemed determined to embarrass themselves further. Before I could react, someone grabbed my arm. The grip was tight, sharp pain shooting through my skin. "Wait a minute, I'm talking to you," the woman snapped, breathless from running. I turned around and shook her hand off me without hesitation. She clearly hadn't expected resistance and staggered back with an exaggerated cry, as if she were the injured party. Her frailty felt theatrical, almost laughable. "Julia, are you okay?" Another woman rushed over, supporting her and glaring at me. "Why are you being so violent? Ignorance really is a problem." I met her stare calmly. "What's going on?" she demanded. "And who do you think you are?" "Who might I be?" the woman scoffed. "Have you really forgotten me?" She looked offended, as if the idea itself was absurd. "You're incredibly self-centered and rude." "Have we met before?" I asked evenly. Her eyebrows shot up in disbelief. "What are you talking about? Do you think you have the right to act like this? You with just a high school diploma?" She laughed harshly. "If you've forgotten, let me remind you. I'm your sister, Julia. Hearing that name should jog your unfortunate memory. And this," she gestured dramatically, "is our mother." "Are you really saying you don't remember your own mother?" I tilted my head slightly. Maybe there was someone by that name in my past." I shook my head faintly. Continuing this conversation felt pointless. My indifference only fueled their anger. At that moment, 2 men hurried over. "What's going on here?" one of them asked. "We could hear the shouting from over there. Julia, are you done getting ready? You're still in your regular clothes. You should change soon." She immediately pointed at me. "Dad, Daniel, this suspicious person sneaked into our wedding. Kick her out right now." Her finger hovered inches from my face. It struck me how rude that gesture was, yet no one corrected her. The reactions from the 2 men were completely different. The man she called Dad widened his eyes, then frowned deeply. Daniel, on the other hand, froze, his face drained of color as if he'd seen a ghost. "What's going on? Why is Hazel here?" he muttered. "On such a happy day, too." "Exactly," Julia snapped. "She must have slipped in by mistake. This is unbearable. Call security immediately." "Wait," Daniel said quickly, voice strained. "Be careful with your words. This person is—" Before he could finish, Julia's father nodded in agreement with her accusations. Watching the scene unfold, I murmured under my breath, "You really don't know anything." No one heard me. "Hazel, there you are. I've been looking for you." Philip's voice cut through the tension. He walked toward me, concern flickering across his face. Every pair of eyes turned to him. I smiled faintly. "Sorry, I got held up by some strange people." I moved closer to him, instinctively reaching his side. Philip glanced around, understanding dawning in his eyes almost instantly. His insight had always been sharp. Julia's expression changed the moment she realized who he was. Her gaze hardened, sharp with resentment. Her parents still looked confused, while Daniel appeared visibly shaken. He was the first to speak. "Mr. Anderson, I apologize. My wife said something inappropriate. I'm truly sorry to your wife as well." He turned to Julia. "Come on, apologize." "Why should I?" she shot back. "They're the ones who should apologize." She pointed at me again. "This disrespectful person intruded on our wedding. She's a disgrace to our family. We should have cut ties with her long ago." "Family?" Daniel echoed, stunned, glancing between us. Her parents stepped in, voices dripping with false regret. "Daniel, we're so sorry. We have a problematic eldest daughter. It's embarrassing even to mention her. We kicked her out 9 years ago. How did she even find out about this wedding? Surely she isn't here to ruin it." "She's stupid," her mother added coldly. "Only finished high school, couldn't go to university, just drifted around doing part-time jobs, being a nuisance, a parasite. She should be grateful we even raised her." I had long since severed emotional ties with these people. Their insults slid off me easily now. According to the family registry, they were still my family, but in truth, I had grown up in a toxic household masked by respectability. Doctors for generations, a family clinic, a nurse mother. Outsiders thought we lived comfortably. Inside, it was suffocating. They favored Julia from the moment I started developing my own identity. I tried desperately to earn their love until I finally gave up. The reason was simple and cruel. She was considered attractive. I was not. I focused on my studies instead, determined to leave as soon as possible. I became the defective elder sister in their narrative. "I won't allow you to go to university," my parents told me during my senior year. "You're inherently defective. Start working after graduation. Be independent and contribute to the family. You owe us." They recorded their cruelty without shame. I recorded it too, every word, every insult. Julia learned quickly from them. "I'll become a doctor and take over Dad's clinic," she would say proudly. "I'll work hard enough for both of us." My parents praised her openly, right in front of me. After graduating, I worked part-time jobs for 3 years, secretly renting an apartment, slowly saving, investing, preparing to leave. When Julia complained she couldn't study with me around, I was kicked out. It became my freedom. I never went back. 9 years passed. Standing alone in that luxurious hotel, listening to raised voices echo down the hall, I realized today was Julia and Daniel's wedding. And though my sister's name was on the invitation, I took it as a mere coincidence, and didn't give it much thought. My interest in this family had already faded. "Why are you taking her side? I've been saying all along that she's suspicious. Just her being here spoils the mood. Kick her out quickly. Look, I've told you several times. I invited these people to the wedding. You check the invitations with me. Right? They've already checked in their official guests. So apologize for what you said earlier." Daniel pleaded. It's worrying that such arguments are happening just before the wedding. At that moment, my father suddenly said, with a surprised look, "Wait, isn't he the son of the head of Anderson General Hospital?" My mother also expressed surprise. "Anderson General Hospital, the famous one, the son of the head doctor." My sister's husband Julia echoed their surprise amid these stares. Philip introduced himself. "Nice to meet you. I'm Philip Anderson. This is my wife Hazel," and greeted them with a smile. Philip's parents are distinguished doctors who have managed a hospital for many years. Philip himself is being groomed as the talented AA parent and is passionately studying medicine. Hearing this, my parents' eyes widened in amazement. Suddenly, my sister's husband intervened. "It's unbelievable. But to think that the wife of Dr. Anderson is my wife's sister. Can such a coincidence even be possible? That means we are relatives now," he said, unable to hide his surprise. "Dr. Wells, I apologize for any trouble my son may have caused in the past." I continued, cutting off his remarks. "My sister's husband, Daniel Wells, is a doctor and works at a university hospital. I had just taken my son to him recently because he was feeling unwell. But that's the extent of our connection. Philip has had professional ties with doctors, and it seems that Wells respects Philly greatly. How's our feeling now? From what I diagnosed, he should start receiving treatment immediately. So I suggest you take him to get tested and hospitalized at my hospital." Daniel kindly made that offer, but I replied, "Actually, we've decided to see another doctor for a second opinion. It's important, you know." He couldn't hide his surprise at my response. It seemed that Daniel was attempting to treat my son as a special case. But I was uncomfortable with the idea of my child being seen as a profitable object. Therefore, I gently declined his offer with a smile. Suddenly, a mocking laugh echoed through the air. Why are you behaving like that? Are you trying to compensate for being a high school graduate by marrying a doctor? Are you stupid marrying the heir of a large hospital? Doesn't elevate your own worth, your education remains the same. And your thinking is too shallow. You really have a child, poor kid, having you for a mother, Julia criticized. Hey, Julia. Please stop, we're family. Why do you keep saying such things? Daniel tried to mediate quickly, however, my sister glared at his words. She seemed unshakable in her righteousness. Suddenly, Philip spoke to me. Hazel, are they really your family? He asked doubtfully. No, these people can no longer be called family. A real family wouldn't suddenly scold you for no reason, refuse to feed you just because you spilled a little food, would give me second-hand clothes found in a dumpster, while laughing as they compare them to the high-end brands they give to my sister. They wouldn't throw away my study materials, claiming you're too stupid to need them, or soak my textbooks with water to make them unusable. So no, they are not my family anymore. True. A real family wouldn't strip you naked in the winter cold for not lending a book to your sister, or lock you in a hot shed in the summer. They wouldn't silently sell your belongings, or tell you directly that you're expected to labor for a lifetime. People in our town have noticed the clinic's unfair treatment of the siblings suspecting abuse, and they don't want to take their children there. It's actually surprising that no one reported it when we were kids now. Despite their business suffering, they failed to realize that they are the cause of it. This shows just how severe it is. During our calm exchange, when the cruel acts of my past were revealed, Daniel was shocked. My parents were equally stunned to find out I knew their clinic was struggling financially. Since I had left home, this information was unearthed by my in-laws, who deeply sympathized with the hardships I endured and felt even more outraged than I did. Philip also harbored similar feelings, and they had been investigating my parents' clinic potentially to use it for revenge. Stop it, stop lying. We didn't do any of that. It's your fault for being a failure. Daniel, don't believe a word she says, my sister vehemently protested. But it was too late. He looked at her with disdain. I thought to myself that none of this would have happened if she had ignored me and walked away back then. No. But actually, it's you who are lying. Daniel retorted. Me lying about what? She responded in disbelief. That Mrs. Anderson only graduated high school. She holds a college degree, is a successful entrepreneur, and the CEO of a company involved in hospital food, which has been instrumental for our clinic. CEO, my sister exclaimed in shock, staring at me as if seeing something unbelievable. My parents were equally astounded. Stop lying. She's just a high school graduate. Are you saying she went to college behind our backs without us knowing? My mother said that accusingly. Yes, I did go to college. I was already an adult, and I had no obligation to report to strangers who are not my family. I replied, what are you saying? How can you speak to your parents like that? We didn't give you permission to go to college, my father shouted. Why would I need your permission? I calmly countered. And they could not hide their indignation. After high school, I worked various jobs and saved a considerable amount of money. I used part of these funds to pay for college tuition. There was still so much I wanted to learn and pursue. Living away from home, I enjoyed my freedom and was capable of anything. While in college, I started my own business. That's also when I met my current husband. Reflecting on this fills me with deep emotions. Meanwhile, my sister was mumbling something with a pale face. I can't believe it. I always thought she was the incapable and inept sister who couldn't do anything by herself, that she would die somewhere after being expelled despite all that. She graduated from college and is now a CEO and married to the heir of a major hospital. Why, I thought I would be the hap one. Why is she more successful than me? Why does she look happy? Why, indeed, maybe it's because despite being treated unfairly by our family, she never gave up and kept working hard. Maybe luck played a small role as well. After saying this, I looked back at my sister firmly, and then I revealed a shocking fact. By the way, I heard you dropped out of middle school. Is that true? This revelation completely shocked everyone around, including my former parents. And Daniel, what are you suddenly talking about? Who dropped out of middle school? My sister countered, though I admired her bravery in doing so. I heard from a distant relative who has always been kind to us that after I left home, you overestimated your capabilities, thinking you could easily get into any prestigious school. Without studying, you went into the exam unprepared and ended up writing almost nothing, resulting in the expected fail. After that, you became unruly at home and were in a reclusive state for a long time, right? You only returned to society recently when our parents introduced Daniel as a suitable marriage partner for you, I explained. As I spoke, Daniel's expression grew increasingly stern. While my parents and sister turned pale, the relative who provided this information is a distant cousin of my father known for his skill in gathering information despite having met only a few times during my childhood. He looked after me and even acted as my guarantor. You what baseless things are you saying? My sister protested, trembling. But I continued, actually. The claim that you work in medical administration is also false, isn't it? In reality, you don't have the qualifications. And you're only handling menial tasks, not entrusted with any specialist duties. It's good that at least the minimum professional ethics are being maintained. I stated, stop it, your words are filled with lies, all of it is false. She cried out, maybe, so what I heard was just a rumor. After all, whether you believe it or not is up to you, I responded. At that, my sister suddenly turned to Daniel, studying his expression. Intently on his face were doubt, confusion, and clear disdain. Julia, you previously told us that you graduated from a prestigious women's university, held qualifications, and were supporting your family's hospital. Are you saying all that was a lie? Falsifying academic credentials to deceive people is clearly fraudulent. Have you deceived me? Daniel asked pointedly. No, Daniel, don't just take her word for it. You're my husband, you should trust me. She pleaded. Then please name even one professor from the university you claim to have graduated from. He challenged her directly. Clearly flustered, my sister struggled to respond. That's not relevant right now. Is it really not? Well, let's call a professor from the department you claim to have attended right now. This professor is also a family friend of our parents and has a very close relationship with our family. Daniel proposed, ready to unravel the truth once and for all. As he declared this, Daniel calmly picked up his smartphone. Please stop, that's not necessary, Daniel. If you trust me, that's enough. Oops. Suddenly, Julia snatched the smartphone from Daniel's hand and forcefully slammed it onto the floor. There's no need to check, just believe me. Driven by anger, Julia slammed the phone to the floor and then mercilessly stomped on it multiple times with her high heels, completely destroying it. Her expression at that moment was distorted with rage, resembling the face of a monster. This scene greatly shocked Daniel, and the people around were stunned by her sudden action. My parents tried to calm Julia down, but her anger seemed not easily subdued. The commotion caught the attention of other guests and the venue staff, who gathered around with concerned looks. The venue momentarily descended into chaos, with a very intense disturbance unfolding. Despite being there, I felt as if it were happening to someone else. I could no longer feel a familial connection with my sister or those present. For me, my family now consists only of my husband and son. Shall we go home? I think we've done our duty here, I suggested to my husband. Philip looked a bit surprised and asked, are we finishing up already, Hazel? I replied with a calm smile, it's okay, let's go home. Oh, and let's stop by the cake shop at this hotel on the way back and buy some delicious cake. There's one that's been very popular recently. Hey, that sounds like a good idea. Let's pick up a cake on the way home. Philip agreed, and we left the venue with a light laugh. Later, I heard that Daniel was involved in a lawsuit for making false diagnoses to patients and charging excessive medical fees. Following this, my former parents, finding themselves in a dire situation, sought my support. However, they did not know my current contact information and ultimately showed up at the hospital where my husband works, wanting to see us. So she's the daughter-in-law of the hospital heir. She is our daughter, please. Let us see her right away. Contacting the son of the hospital director should solve this problem instantly. We are really in trouble. We need her to repay the kindness we raised her with. We are family, so it's only natural to seek help. That's right. Honestly, I never thought she would be so useful. But it pays to raise them, doesn't it? I never imagined she would find a more suitable partner than Julia. We are now in laws with the son of the hospital director, so it's natural for us to seek support. They proclaimed this loudly at the reception, causing quite a stir. However, it was not my husband or I who responded, but rather coincidentally my parents-in-law. They, with a stern look, firmly asked my parents, what business do you have with our daughter? My parents were unsettled by this stern response, literally froze on the spot, and quickly left the scene. They tried to contact us several times afterward, but because they did not focus on resolving their own business issues, their hospital eventually had to close. When I received news of the closure, I felt no particular emotion. Instead, I felt a sense of relief that they had reaped what they sowed. I thought it was one of the most refreshing moments. Later, I heard that Julia and Daniel had gotten divorced. It was astonishing that their marriage had lasted even a few months. The lawsuit Daniel was involved in, and his subsequent dismissal from the hospital, probably dealt a fatal blow to their relationship. Julia seemed determined to surpass my happiness and find greater joy, but she continued to make poor choices in the process. As her first step, she secretly started having an affair with a much older, married doctor, hoping to find a more advantageous position for herself. However, this affair soon came to light and escalated into a significant issue. When the doctor's wife demanded compensation, desperate, she sought help from her parents to resolve the situation. But they quickly disowned her, labeling her a disgrace to the family. I have no certain information about what happened to her afterward, but she had failed her high school entrance rance exams, and as a result had lived reclusivity at home for a long time, living a life isolated from society. She unknowingly started working in the night world, facing hardships that eventually led to health issues and ultimately homelessness. Hearing these stories, my interest in her gradually diminished. Meanwhile, as retirement approaches, my former parents struggle to find positions as doctors or nurses, but it seems no hospital will accept them due to their long-standing bad reputation. This is likely a consequence of their ruthless treatment of me in the past. Now, they are no more than people from my past, and I no longer have the capacity to devote time to thinking about them. Regarding my son, fortunately, after examinations at another medical facility, he no longer needs to be hospitalized, and his condition has significantly improved with proper medication. I will continue to do everything I can to protect my family.